Hi, in this video we're going to go over the 4x4 switches that are found in some of your Silverados, Suburbans, Tahoes. We got two different types here we're going to work on today. I got the 4x4 one, which doesn't have the auto four-wheel drive, and then I got the one with the auto four-wheel drive. They are the same inside, other than there's no light right here where there is a light here. Other than that, the board is the same. So just for this video, we're going to do this one. They're the same pretty much inside, other than, like I said, the light bulb is missing. First thing we need to do is open it. There's three little tabs on each side. There's 1, 2, 3 here. Then you got 1, 2, and 3. These can be fun to get open sometimes. You just gotta stick a screwdriver in there and start prying them and trying to pop them little by little. Once you get one side like that, flip it over, the other side comes out pretty easy. Then we just pull it off carefully. Take your face, put it aside. Then this piece falls out. What this is, this actually projects the light through the buttons. The light bulbs sit inside here. You put it back in the board like that, you'll see there's a light bulb here, a light bulb here, and that light goes through these little plastic diffusers or whatever they call them. These LEDs here are for the switch lights. There's like little indicator lights here. That's what these LEDs are for. We're not replacing any of those because those almost never ever go bad. We're just going to replace the two incandescent bulbs that are in here that usually go bad. The problem with this switch is you cannot pull this board out of the switch, because as you can see, the pins where the plugs plug in, they're actually soldered to the board, which is holding it in. You can't just pop it and hope it comes out, because it will not. What I've suggested for some people is just to cut these off and try to solder bulbs back in. Or if you want to try to do it the best you can and do it correctly, you need to desolder all of these pins. There's 4 here, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more. What I do is I use a desoldering iron that I found. It seems to work pretty well. What you do is you just kind of put it on one of the joints, let it heat up, then push the button and it'll suck the solder right off. And you push the lever back down, go to the next one, let it heat it up a little bit, then push the button and it'll suck the solder. You may have to do it a few times because there's some are hard, some are not so bad. And just keep going. And you can see it's starting to remove the solder. And that one's not, I haven't done yet. As you see, it took the solder off those. So I'm going to just reload this again and let it heat up. And solder's gone. Do it again. Just keep doing it for all of them. As you can see, it's spitting out solder onto my workbench. The soldering iron might be a little bit on the clog side. Once I found this, I used it quite a bit because it does make it a lot easier to get the solder off the board. Looks like it's cleaning it up pretty good. I think I got them all there. Take a closer look. Yeah, some of them need a little extra attention. It doesn't always work perfectly the first time around. You just got to kind of look at it and keep working on it. Slowly but surely, you can get it. When it looks pretty clean, you can take a small blade screwdriver and see if you can start to lift it up. Be careful, you don't want to break the board. And just kind of, you got two tabs here, you kind of bend them back while you're prying up, and just keep lifting on the board, and it'll slowly, if you get the solder off, it'll start coming up. Just be careful you don't break it. See it's coming up. I got it to come up here. Just keep prying it up a little bit. Then go down on this end. Try to do the same thing. It just takes a little wiggling around, but you got to be careful. That one might need a little more attention here. I'm going to add a little extra solder on there. I'm just going to try to clean it up a little better. Okay, let's see what we got now. If we can pry this up slowly but surely. Yep, there we go. You don't have to worry about the pins falling out because they won't. Once you get the board up, there's a couple clips. You just kind of got to get it up and over the clips. There's this, whoops, that little square notch I just broke. Kind of holds it in place, but it'll live without it. It's still got one plus the clips. Now you can set that aside and you can actually get to the back side of this thing now and desolder the bulbs correctly. And since I'm on a roll with this thing, I'll just continue to use my desoldering iron here. Let it heat up. Pull the trigger. Let it heat up. Pull the trigger. See if it's coming loose. Well, whoop. Might have to heat it up a little more. Get that. Just kind of keep working it. And you might just have to heat it up and kind of easily pull it out. There it is. That bulb's out. And you can clean up the holes here a little bit. Let me take a look here. Yep, the holes are nice and clean. Got all the solder out of that. And we'll go to this last bulb here. Set it on there. Let me put it down so you can see it a little better. There's the two leads for the bulb. Just kind of set it on there and let it heat it. Then pull it. And you can see how it sucks it up. You may have to do it a few times like we did with the pins. These things are old. Yeah, see, that one's all loose. I'll have to do this one again. And now it's getting looser. We can just kind of heat it up with like a regular soldering iron, and then she'll fall right out of there. Make sure the board looks okay. Clean out the holes if needed. This one's got a little gunk there. Heat it up. Suck it out. Let me take a look at the light. Yep. Now both our holes are clear. So we have to find some new bulbs. As you can see, these are about 4 millimeters bipin bulbs, as we call them. 3 or 4 millimeter. We're going to replace them with, I think, a couple 3 millimeters as soon as I can find them here. Alrighty, now I got the bulbs. We're going to take these bi-pin bulbs here I got. These are actually 14 volt 3 millimeter bi-pins that'll fit right in there perfectly. I just pop them in there, bend the tabs just a little bit so they don't fall out until I solder them. Pop the other one right in there, flip it over, bend the tabs just a tad, and then I take a little solder paste to help the solder stick a little better. You don't have to have this, but I find it helps me a little better. And I just grab my soldering iron here, and we're going to solder this thing. It doesn't matter which way the bulbs go in, these are just incandescents. You can put LEDs in these, and I do have LEDs for these. And they also come with directions on how to install them, because they have to be installed properly or they won't work. You have to know which is positive, which is negative. For a LED to work with an incandescent bulb, it doesn't make any difference. Just put them in, solder them in. They're nice solid now. And what I'll do is I trim off any excess sticking up. And that's pretty much it. And then we put it back in our back in the switch. Just kind of easily get her finagled back into place. Push it down as good as you can get it, like so. And I'll just take a little paste through here, just give it a little extra stick, and then I'll solder back all those pins that we had to unsolder to get the board out. So this will take a few minutes here, or just heat it up. Come on. Just keep heating it up. Make sure you don't run your solder on the, any other pins, just the one you're working on. Otherwise you ground it out, short it out. We don't want to do that. Just do one at a time. Let the solder flow. I think I got too small of a tip on here for this particular solder job, but we'll make it work. And just keep doing them all. Heat them up. Heat them up. I'm getting there. Those are done. There's 4 more to go. There, now they're all soldered back together. Let me make sure I don't have any, doesn't look like anything leaking over. What I do, you don't have to do, clean off any of that solder paste, is I take some alcohol. It's got to be 99% alcohol to really clean it, and then a little brush. I just dip it in there, and then I'll just kind of hit it where I soldered. Off any of that excess. It doesn't matter because this solder paste is made for electronics. It won't hurt anything. whatever you do, don't do what I did when I first started soldering. I used plumbing soldering paste. That's a big time no-no because it has acid in it and it eats away at the electronics. I learned the hard way on that one, caught something on fire a long time ago, and then realized I'm using the wrong kind of solder paste. So now I use some that's made for electronics, and this is what I got some of this rosin, or rosin, however you want to pronounce it. It's a paste flux. You can get it off of eBay. You can find it on Amazon. I got this type that I use, and I got this one you can find easily, I think, on I think it's eBay. I got this one, or maybe, gee, now I got them backwards, which one's which. But I got one on eBay, one on Amazon. Some of them are, one was pretty cheap, one wasn't. But they last forever, and I use them constantly. You don't have to have them. It just makes it stick a lot better to solder anyway. So those are the two I use, and then I just use a little brush like so and dab it on. You don't have to use much because it doesn't take much. And then I cleaned it off. As you can see, it's all cleaned off. It's nice and dry. We can plug this guy in and see if it works. Let me see. Yeah, I got a battery plug on the back of this one. I'll just steal that. Plug it in here and grab my lines here. Let's see. Black will be my ground. Brown and white will be my positive, and they should come on. Voila! There we have lights. Well, we had none before. If you put the diffuser back in, you can see it makes the light go where the buttons are. Let me turn this off so I don't short anything out. I want to pop this back on. You see which way that goes on this way. We just pop the switch back on, turn it on. You turn off some of the lights in here so you can see it actually working. It's kind of hard to see in the dark. It's kind of hard to see anyway. As you can see, as I block the other light, your switches are lit up. Now when you push the buttons, they'll go wherever you have them to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, up. You just don't have the light here where it says 4x4. Like this one had auto 4x4, and there's a light bulb behind that. That's the only difference in the boards. You just don't worry about that bulb anyway, because that's an LED up there. You just have to worry. They got the same two bulbs, the incandescent bulbs, for the backlighting, like this, where we got backlighting, as you can see. And if I turn it off, you'll notice it goes dim. If I keep my hand here and turn the switch on, you can see how it comes on. And if you turn the switch off, it goes off. So you got backlighting now. You can put LEDs in these if you want. We got blue, green, red, and I can't remember if the white will work well in these or not. Some white LEDs won't work in some of the GM switches because they use a blue filter to soften the incandescent bulb, and it will actually make an LED turn a light blue, even the white, and there's nothing you can do about it, no way around it. I will leave a link where you can get the incandescent bulbs, the desoldering iron if you happen to want one, or if you think you can do it with just regular soldering iron and maybe some, I forget what they call that stuff. There's a braid you can use, desoldering braid. You can try that if you know how to do that. Desoldering iron makes it a lot easier. They're not that expensive, plus they come in handy for any other work you may be doing on your truck. We got a bunch of other videos on that you can also see. But that's pretty much it. That's how you replace the bulbs in your 4x4 switch. Thanks for watching.